Well, plenty of class players on the field, Gordon. OK. Well, right now, managers Alex Smith and Billy McNeil will be announcing their teams, building up the players who are in and consoling those who have to be left out. Both squads arrived at Hampden a short time ago, and Jim Delahunt was at the entrance to gauge the mood of both camps.
Billy, 3-4 for the television. Before you go in.
For the television?
Billy, running. Billy, any last-minute problems for Celtic as you go in?
No, none whatsoever. Obviously, it's a nice day, and I think it's a day to be fit in a cup final. Anyways, we're ready for the final, Jim, and obviously we look forward very, very much to competing in it. The boys are in good form, they're in good fettle, and here's hoping everything will go well.
And briefly, how's Chris Morris?
Yeah, Chris is all right. You'll get the team in about an hour's time.
Thanks very much, Billy. Best of luck.
All right, Jim. Thank you. Bye.
Quick word for Scottish television.
Yes, certainly.
Alex, how was the journey down, first of all, from the hotel?
Smashing. No problems, no traffic. We hit a mile or two for the ground. It's okay.
The players in fine fettle?
Yeah, so far anyway. They've showed good signs, so we'll just wait to the game now and see what happens then.
What about yourself, Alex? A lucky ground for you. You're looking forward to it?
I'm delighted to be here again, and hopefully we can win it.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
As always on Cup Final Day, there are a host of celebrities here, and among them enjoying his first taste of the Hampden atmosphere is Labour leader Neil Kinnock. And as Jim Delahunt discovered, he's looking forward to the big occasion.
Mr. Kinnock, what's a Welsh rugby fan doing at the Scottish Football Cup Final?
Oh, this is a great occasion, two great teams, and I think it'll be a great match. So that was a good reason for coming up today. Besides which, Liverpool are not playing in Wembley today.
Any preference as to who might win?
As to who might win? Well, it's Cup Final. Aberdeen are fancied. That doesn't often work in Cup Finals, but it's anybody's guess, really. There's a certain matching between the two teams. I shall be shouting for whichever of the teams has got the most Welsh players.
Not the team with the red strips, perhaps, no?
Oh, well, I've got to be discriminating about that on some occasions, you know.
Well, as the kick-off draws nearer, players from both sides traditionally walk the Hampden turf to get a feel of the atmosphere as it builds up. Our man at the trackside, Rob McLean, has been talking to players from both sides, starting with Paul Elliott.
Paul, it's a lovely day. Looking forward to the big game.
Yeah, obviously I hope it's going to be a great game for Scottish football. I think probably we've got two of the best entertaining sides in Scotland at the moment, Celtic and Aberdeen, and I hope obviously the game will live up to all its expectations.
I gather Chris Morris is out. That's obviously a blow.
Yeah, naturally. I mean, Chris has seemed to be our lucky omen for the last couple of years. He's a very talented player, and I'm sure we're going to miss him. But at the same time, you know, the way we've got the team formation today, with the greatest respect to Chris, you know, I hope it will prove just as a good addition.
Celtic coming off the ropes.
I hope so.
Hope it's a good game. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Hans Heelhuis, Aberdeen strong favourites today. Does that suit you?
Well, it doesn't really matter whether you're underdogs or favourites. It's just a 50% chance for both of the teams, and if you are being booked like favourites like us, then I think you just have to play like favourites and show the crowd and show yourself that you're the best team.
The cup's been good for you personally.
It's been good so far, but if you don't win it, it's just no use at all.
And you'll be happy to know that the highlights are being shown in Holland.
Well, yes, of course, but I've been picked for the 27. I'm just concentrating on the cup final, and Monday we start a 10-day session, and well, then we start from there.
Let's hope it's a good game. Thanks, Hans.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break here, but coming next on this Cup Final special, a detailed look at how Aberdeen and Celtic made it to Hampden. Hello again. For Aberdeen, this is their first Scottish Cup final since 1986, when Alex Ferguson managed them to the last of his 4 victories in the tournament. Although they had to survive a couple of scares in the early rounds, latterly their cup form has been mighty impressive.
Back in January, Aberdeen came south to meet Partick Thistle in the 3rd round of the Cup. Conditions at Firhill were heavy, to say the least, after a series of downpours. But the two sides served up an 8-goal thriller. The Dons came out on top all right, but the Jags gave them an early fright.
There's a great through ball. John Flood into the box he goes. A left foot shot. It's under Michael Watt, and it's in. Partick Thistle hit the front, and it's Callum Campbell with only 2 minutes gone. corner to his captain, Alec McLeish. Here is McLeish. Fires that ball in. Van der Ark scores. Too clever. Gallagher to Flood. Here's Callum Campbell. What a chance. What a mistake by Brian Irvine. Tackle from behind. And it's a penalty to Partick Thistle. So it's Chick Charnley with the penalty. Drives it in. Charnley's 7th goal of the season. What a vital one that is for Partick Thistle. Alec McLeish forward to Van der Ark. Nicholas, good control under pressure from Kennedy. Charlie Nicholas now. That's a great through ball. Here's Brian Grant. Can Grant score? Yes, he can. A brilliant ball from Charlie Nicholas. Picked out Grant. The finish was composure itself. There's the corner. There's the head of Irvine. It's dangerous, and it's a goal. It's Willem van der Ark. Here's Brian Grant. Here's a chance to race through the middle. He's got clear of Jordan. He's got Mason on the right. There, it's fired in, and it's a tragic own goal. Jim Kerr. Aberdeen building again. Van der Ark, good head flick. Paul Mason racing in after it. Does well, wins the ball. Mason must score, and Mason does score. Van der Ark cuts inside. A shooting chance for Van der Ark on the edge of the box. Fires it in. There's the shot, and there's the goal. And that's the Van der Ark hat-trick.
In February, the Dons were at home to Morton, but the men from the First Division had a shock in store. Tommy Turner putting them ahead. The Dons remember it well.
It was gale force 10 that day. The pitch was really heavy, and credit to Morton, they had a real go at us and they played good football, and they took the lead actually, and it wasn't against their run of play, they deserved it. But we battled back, and we were strong enough in the end to come through. And that one was probably a turning point for us, because we'd been having a bad spell in the league, and we got over that hurdle, and from then on we've really grown from strength to strength.
They got over that hurdle, but they got themselves over it. A pinpoint cross from Paul Mason, and Hans Heelhuis levelled it. Heelhuis had a hand in the Dons' winner. In the end, it was Charlie Nicholas who drove it home. By no means, though, a convincing victory, but the Dons were through. His reaction was to be one of the moments of the Cup this season. Next up, high-flying Hearts.
We decided to play it down quite well that week, and the front three at Hearts, who deserved credit, right up until that game, were firing all cylinders. But me and Hans have formed a good partnership. We're happy with each other's form, and we felt we could cause the Scotland pair at the back a lot of problems, and I think on the day we did.
There's the right foot shot from Jim Bett. Goal for Aberdeen. The Robertson corner. There's Craig Levine. There's Crab. What a chance in front of goal. And John Colquhoun equalises for Hearts. This is good position for Aberdeen. Stuart McKimmie chips it up. There's the head of Nicholas. There's Heelhuis. Heelhuis scores! And Aberdeen have the lead again. Hans Heelhuis. There's Jim Bett's corner for Aberdeen, knocked down by Brian Irvine. There's Heelhuis back to Irvine. Irvine shot, and Irvine's goal. 3-1. Hans Heelhuis past Walter Kidd, touches it to Nicholas. What a chance for Charlie Nicholas. He doesn't miss those ones. And it's 4-1 Aberdeen. Heelhuis and Nicholas link again with great effect.
Well, it's been 5 or 6 months now, and it's been like we played for years. It started off great. Straight away from the first game, we had a partnership. We stopped. It stopped because of an injury. But after that, it just kept on going, and it's still going very well.
It appears to go well. I mean, you blend so well together.
Yeah.
Each of you seems to know what the other is doing.
Yes, it's just we have a sort of blinding understanding. We know it. I know what he's doing, and he knows what I'm doing. But of course, we mustn't forget the rest of the team, because they're important in our partnership, especially like Paul Mason, who's on the right side of the attack. He's just as important. So it's just not just the two of us, it's the whole team.
It was Dundee United next, Tynecastle in March, the Dons in top gear.
That's towards McLeish. McInally steps in, there's Heelhuis. Nicholas has found space, this is dangerous now. Aberdeen in possession. And forced home by Irvine. Aberdeen are ahead. Comes all the way across to Jim Bett. Across the far post, up goes Irvine. It's an own goal by Patalainen. Through the gap it goes, there's Van der Haan. 3-0 to Aberdeen, and once again, it's an own Spaces on for Hillhouse. Checking inside, Krivokovic, great play by Hillhouse! A magnificent goal by the Dutchman. That sets the seal on the Aberdeen performance.
The man who set the Dons on their way that day at Tynecastle was defender Brian Irvine. It was a personal performance and a result that he'll remember for a very long time.
Well, I think I got the man of the match because they thought I'd scored 2 in the press box, but I'd actually only scored 1. So if they'd known I'd only got 1, perhaps I wouldn't have got the man of the match, because there was a lot of good players on the team that day. We just played really well and got the goals at the right time and won well in the end.
As far as your own career is concerned, what would it mean to you to be in the Dons Cup winning team tomorrow?
It sounds corny, but I mean, as a boy I always supported Aberdeen, and I remember watching them lifting when they won the Cups earlier in the 80s, and just to be part of a winning team now as a player would just be fantastic. I've had a couple of shots in the subs bench in the Skull Cup earlier in the season and the season before, and just to be part of the winning of it this season was fantastic. So this would be a further thing, because the Scottish Cup probably is that wee bit more special.
Dons manager Alex Smith has guided a side to Scottish Cup success before. The year 1987, the club St Mirren. Now he's out to do the same with the Dons, and he'd be the first manager since Jock Stein to do a cup double with 2 different clubs.
I just think he won in the cup for the club, and if it means something else to me afterwards, then that's great. It would be nice, right enough, I must admit.
There's a particular magic about the build-up to the Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, all week, and even before the week came in, last week when we started to sell the tickets, and you've seen all these spectators down buying tickets, and they came from 100 mile away to buy tickets, and they're queuing away around the corner, and 5 and 6 deep. I think that's tremendous. You start getting the feeling of the Cup then, and the whole thing starts to build up, and that's something special. It's well worth it.
Oh, Gordon, the Dons, there we are. That's their cup run. What do you make of their performances?
Well, they've scored a lot of goals, that's for sure, and I think very impressively against Hearts, which was a tricky tie. I mean, Hearts were the flavour of the month at the time. You know, you'd Cahoon, Crabbe, Robertson scoring a lot of goals, and they went there full of expectation, and Aberdeen gave them a bit of a thrashing. Then, of course, they've got their old rivals Dundee United in the semi-final, which you thought would have been a tight game, and they got another 4. Dundee United get beat by another 4, so, I mean, it's impressive stuff so far.
Yeah, Hillhouse was fabulous in that game. How do you rate him? How would you have relished playing against him?
Well, I think playing against good players always brings the best out in you, and he's been a magnificent signing for Alex Smith. I mean, you thought he wouldn't have topped Snelders, getting him from Dutch football, and yet he comes up with one better than Hans Hillhouse. I mean, just a bit of class.
And talking of class, I mean, you mentioned earlier Jim Bett. Again, so much depends on him to play well today.
Yeah, Jim Bett and Paul McStay, obviously the key men in midfield. As we've seen so many times this season, Jim Bett, a key man for Aberdeen, a key man for Scotland qualifying for the World Cups. And, I mean, he can play. He's a smashing passer of the ball. He gets past people. He probably plays a bit wider in the midfield than what Paul McStay does, and gets great crosses in. An all-round smashing player.
Right, well, so much for the Dons Cup run then. But no one at Celtic Park needs reminding of the importance of today's game. Although statistics count for very little at this stage, Celtic can perhaps take heart from one. They've conceded only 1 goal on the way to the final. Rob McLean's been monitoring their progress.
Whatever the outcome this afternoon, the Celtic team picture is certain to change. Another cup success would salvage some pride and ensure a place in European football, but not disguise the problems. Polish striker Dariusz Jakanowski put Celtic on the road to Hampden with a late winner at Forfar. That set up this dramatic moment in the 4th round draw.
Holders will play Rangers. That's Celtic against Rangers.
So the first half drawing to a close with Celtic on the attack again. Here's Tommy Coyne. Sideways to Jakanowski. Here's Joe Miller. It's a great chance for Celtic. 1-0 to Celtic.
I think at the time the boys were going through a bad spell, and the result did us a world of good, and we have came all the way here to the final, and hopefully I'll be involved in the 13 on the day.
Have you worked out yet what part of your anatomy the ball went in off?
Yeah, well, it went in off my thigh. Someone said it was my eye, but it was my thigh.
I think that that in many ways was a cup final in advance of the cup final. And the real aim of getting through that game was to get to the final. We've done that. We'd like to see if we can do the same again.
Just as they'd done in the league, Dunfermline made life difficult for Celtic in the Cup. The quarter-final went to a replay, which new captain Paul McStay set alight.
McStay free again inside, looking for a shooting chance. McStay makes it 1-0. And it's a classic strike from the Celtic skipper. There's McStay once again. Finding Miller. Now Grant, through the middle goes Coyne, he's onside. And Tommy Coyne makes it 2-0 to Celtic. Miller now testing the pace of Irons going inside. Now going past Rugby, is good play by Miller. Here's Joe Miller again! The third for Celtic. And Joe Miller surely now seals the tie for Celtic.
Hampden will be covered with green and white as usual, I'd imagine, and with their backing I'm sure we can go on to give one of the performances that we've already given the Cup this year. Hopefully win against Rangers, because that was a really good team performance, and if we can do that on Saturday we'll win the Cup.
Another battle with Jim Bett to look forward to?
Yeah, Jim's had a great season. He's been my player of the year. He's been tremendous all year, and it will be an interesting tussle again, and hopefully I come out on top. No, but I'm looking forward to the game.
First Division Clydebank, playing in their first Scottish Cup semi-final, stood between Celtic and the return trip to Hampden.
Jakanowski. Well, there's a shooting opportunity. Down goes Gallagher. Good save, but he won't be able to stop that rebound. It's Andy Walker. 10 minutes gone, and Celtic are ahead. Dixon's throw for Clydebank into the last 5 minutes of the Scottish Cup semi-final. And could this be a second for Celtic? It is! And it's Andy Walker. His second, Celtic's second, and that surely puts Celtic in the Scottish Cup final.
A couple of goals in a semi-final. I enjoyed that. I was brought into the side then and managed to get a couple of goals. So obviously a goal or two on Saturday would be great for me.
Do you hope that was a memo to Billy McNeill saying I'm the man for Hampden?
Yeah, sure. Well, I hope I'm in the starting 11, and we'll just take it from there.
Celtic are Scottish Cup specialists. They're going for a record 3 in a row, but on current form the odds are stacked against them.
I don't think anybody could dispute the fact that our league form as compared with Aberdeen's is sufficient to make them favourites. And again, that's not a situation that unduly worries us or upsets us. I think if you look at the season, we have never really at any time been able to produce a consistent string of results. But what we have been able to do with regard to the Cup is produce the performances that got us into the next round. And at the end of the day, I think Cup competitions are about that. They're about winning one game at a time. We're now in the final. It was a target we set ourselves. And I think it's a target most teams would be looking forward to. It gives us the opportunity of winning the second most prestigious trophy. In many, many ways, I think it gives us a chance to salvage some excitement and some success from a disappointing season. But it is a cup final. We're all looking forward to it. As I mentioned, being underdogs is not something that upsets us. We'd like nothing better than maybe to prove one or two people wrong.
Well, Gordon, as Billy says here, consistency has been Celtic's problem this season.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, I think they thought maybe the turning point would be beating Rangers in the Cup, which was a great result, but it's not worked out that way. Their league form's been a big disappointment since. But as Big Billy said, they've got into the next round each time, they've got to the Cup final, and I think they'll need a performance like what they gave against Rangers to win here against Aberdeen today.
As he says too, Gordon, they're not bothered by this tag of being the underdogs.
Well, it must be lovely for one of the old firm to be coming to Hampden and not being the underdogs for a change, because obviously most times they are, unless they're playing one another. So that's something unique for Celtic.
I mean, you played at the highest level. Would you rather have gone into a cup final as underdogs or as favourites?
Well, I think I'd rather be in as favourites, because all the experts are judging you being the best side. So, I mean, I don't mind going in as favourites.
Nothing Billy has said is going to sway you? You're still sticking with the Dons?
I mean, I'm just going by form, by logic, and I know it's difficult, as I said earlier, backing against either of the old firm, but I'm going for Aberdeen today.
All right, Gordon. Well, we'll take another break there. Coming up, the views of our commentary team, Jock Brown and Paul Sturrock, and what the respective sets of fans think of the big match. Hello again. Our commentary team this afternoon is Jock Brown and the Dundee United coach Paul Sturrock, a man who's no stranger to the Hampden finals. So let's join them to get their first impressions of the big occasion.
Terrific atmosphere down in trackside. Paul, you've played in 4 losing final teams, sorry to remind you of that. What do you feel about the conditions this afternoon?
Well, I've had a look at the pitch. You know, we've been here, as you say, 4 times before, and it's far better than expected. You know, I think they've had a couple of days' rain. It softened the ground, and playing with tango balls, I was a wee bit worried it might be a bit too fiery for them, but I think the tangles will be okay today.
Now, we've just had news of the 2 teams. The Aberdeen team we've had confirmed as absolutely as expected with Graham Watson and Ian Jess, and that means that Willie Miller is not playing. Did that surprise you?
No, I could have bet my mortgage on them playing the same team as the semi-final. You know, the boy Irvin's come in and done a fantastic job this season, and I see no need to change a winning team.
And of course Celtic, a few surprises there perhaps, with Dobchek wearing 2, Rogan is going to wear 3, there's no place for Mike Galloway or Tommy Coyne, and it looks as though it might be a 4-3-3 with Billy Stark playing in midfield.
Yes, I think the boy Stark's come back and did a very good job in the last 2 or 3 games. I think Joe Miller will play wide right, and it'll be interesting to see who plays right back with 2 left-footed full-backs on the park.
It's interesting too that Celtic seem willing to go with an attacking formation with 3 up. Is that a surprise to you?
No, I think if I was thinking man, I would have thought to try and stop Aberdeen from starting the game and make them kick it long, leaving 3 up the park and trying to frustrate the Aberdeen's back 4.
Now, from the Aberdeen point of view, how do you expect them to start the game?
I think they'll be very methodical. They'll take their time and they'll try and settle. They'll try and pass the ball about. They'll try and get it into midfield to Bet Mason. But also they've got the danger of the pace up front with Hillhouse. And then on the day like today, the boy Elliott has been out for quite a long time now. They might try and play long balls over the top.
Well, we'll look forward to what happens later on. Not long to go now, the kick-off.
Jock and Paul then about to make their way to the commentary position. And as the crowd builds up here at Hampden, what of the fans themselves? Certainly in Aberdeen, there's a distinct air of confidence.
Few Dons fans haven't toasted their club's good fortunes in Jimmy Wilson's pub in the Granite City. A former Dons player himself, Wilson's is more of a shrine to football than a watering hole. Inside there are Dons past and present, and there are Celts past and present. But what has been the fans' view of the final this week?
Well, mostly they're Aberdeen, but we get Celtic supporters in here as well, so I've got to watch what I say here. But we've a lot of Aberdeen fans in here, and they obviously fancy the Dons.
Where are Aberdeen's strengths? I mean, who's going to win the game for them?
Hillhouse is a good player. He's a right good player. You know, I think he's the best player I've had here since the days of Zoltan Varga. Another foreigner. Bet's playing well. Big Alex playing well. The goalkeeper is a right good goalkeeper as well. Probably maybe Willie and Snelders hadn't been injured, Aberdeen might have cleaned up this year, you know.
Cup final's a cup final. Could go either way, Celtic or Aberdeen. But on the other hand, Celtic might have their problems. We haven't at the present moment. I just thought Aberdeen go all the way and get the double, and not put something up Rangers. They haven't got this season. We've got 2, and they'll only have 1.
Aberdeen's never been an overconfident football team. They've always been a positive type of football team that tend to go for every game that comes up. And, well, as far as I'm concerned, they do well.
You live in Aberdeen, but your loyalties don't lie with Aberdeen. You're a Celtic man, am I right?
That's correct, yes.
So what about the game?
Oh, we'll take it. 2-1, maybe go extra time.
Going to Hampden is favourites. Yes and no. If I was playing another team, bar Celtic, very seldom going to Hampden is favourites. It bothers me. That bothers me.
So you've got your doubts?
Yes, I have got my doubts. Playing Celtic.
But Jaganowski could turn it for us.
Yeah,
I think so.
What kind of performance is it going to take from Celtic though to win it? Because Aberdeen are the team on form, obviously.
I bet it's going to be our best when our backs are against the wall.
Yeah?
Well, I think they just got to turn up and beat us, but it's going to be a different result than last Wednesday was.
Plays a team, teamwork, Aberdeen will do it.
You enjoyed the Scottish Cup final. Are you going to enjoy the Scottish Cup final as much?
I've been to every cup final, Scottish Cup, Skull Cup, that Aberdeen's been in, and I'm going to enjoy this one just the same.
Good for you, sir. Well, we've talked to the Aberdeen fans. Now it's the turn of the Celtic faithful. After a disappointing season in the league, there were plenty of outspoken views to be found, as Rob McLean discovered.
Greenock, the tail of the bank, home for First Division Morton and home too for a legion of Celtic fans. The supporters club is one of the association's biggest. From inside come some controversial opinions.
Basically, I think it would be better if Celtic get beat. So as the present board would go and get their finger out and bring the likes of John Collins, Charlie Nicholas, maybe an few other names to Parkhead. But deep in the heart, you do hope that Celtic would win the cup. But basically, it'd be more beneficial if they lost.
They've got the best support in the world. And it's terrible results we've been getting again. We're getting beat off everybody. It's been an embarrassment. Since the Mo Johnston affair, it's been an embarrassment to be a Celtic supporter all over Scotland. Everybody's slagging you, oh, you support Celtic, you're going to put a balaclava over your head. Because I just hope they do the business, because, as you say, they've got the best support in the world. I don't know how, they have the same crowds as Liverpool or that. They keep telling them we're getting money, we're getting money. They must have money. They sell Roy Aitken and another 2 players. They get 800,000 for that, but they never really bought anybody.
They'll win because the guts is there. You know, they've got the guts, the boys will do it. But at the same time, you'll need to spend some money.
Well, I think Celtic will win as well, simply because they've got to. Otherwise, they're not in Europe.
So they've got more to play for than Aberdeen?
More to play for.
Celtic will win.
Why?
Because I think their cup tradition will see them through on the day. We were got off against Rangers, we beat Rangers comfortably, supposedly the best team in Scotland.
It's a long time since we've been out of Europe, and I think that's important to the fans, important to the club for money.
So you think the players will respond?
I think they'll respond, yeah, to the chance of getting into Europe.
The whole season is based on 90 minutes. That's their season. 90 minutes, they've got Europe, as the boys were saying there. That's what all boils down to, 90 minutes.
Well, they've been playing bad, right? They're going to play on Saturday. I know they're going to play.
Just because it's the final?
Because it's the final.
Rangers carry lucky anyway, isn't it? That boy's lucky, Kerry.
They will play. They will win on Saturday. I know that for a fact.
I'm going to a wedding this Saturday. That Dave John Graham, mate, he gets married on Saturday, and that's me. I can't see the game or nothing. That's me, snooker.
So how are you feeling about that?
I don't know how he's feeling. I'm feeling bad anyway. I've got to go. But she's a nice lassie.
And that's the main thing. Good man. What about the atmosphere, Gordon? It's building up. Cracking day for it.
Well, I mean, it helps when you get a day like this and you've got 2 smashing teams stacked with good players and getting dressed up a bit here as well.
The Flintstones have arrived. I love it. Great stuff. It's a wonderful atmosphere. Aberdeen and Celtic supporters mingling too outside
yeah,
with each other.
Well, that's great to see. I mean, in Scottish football here we've got a trouble-free record at crowds, which is terrific, you know. But it's a great atmosphere and a great day out for Scottish fans.
Great, Gordon. Well, a particularly interested spectator this afternoon is the St Johnstone manager, Alec Totten. Now, his side will be facing the likes of Aberdeen and Celtic in the Premier League next season. He's with Rob McLean down at the trackside to talk about their prospects.
Alec, firstly, congratulations on what's been a fantastic season for St Johnstone.
Thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, it's been a marvellous season because we moved in our new stadium, McDermott Park, a stadium we're all very proud of. I think the contribution from everyone, the chairman, directors, backroom staff, players and fans have been marvellous. And again, the pressure's always on the players because they're sitting top of the league. And I think they handle the pressure quite superbly. And last Saturday, they got the cup presented, and also our young team, the reserve team, won the Reserve League East. So obviously last Saturday, I was a very proud man indeed.
You've got promotion playing football, but what's the story next season?
Well, since I came into management, I've always loved to play football. I think the ordinary fan pays good money on a Saturday to be entertained. It's always been my policy. So hopefully next season we'll do that too. But possibly away from home, we'll have to tighten up a bit, Rob.
A couple of new signings?
Yes, well, I think irrespective of what division you're in, whether it's the Premier League, First Division or Second Division, you're always looking for new faces. I think the fans look for new faces too, and competition for places. So there will be new signings, yes.
What about this game here, Celtic against Aberdeen? Interesting to learn that Celtic are going to play it with 2 centre-halves, Elliott and White, Dovcik sweeping behind.
Yeah, that's very interesting because the boy Dovcik is all left-footed, you know, and he's going to play right back, so I believe Aberdeen could capitalise on that with Hillhouse wide on the left. I think it should be a marvellous game because both teams love to play attacking football. Celtic obviously had a trying season, but again, they've been here on many occasions in the cup final, won plenty of cups. But Aberdeen, I feel, have more quality players, so at the end of the day, I think it'll be down to quality, so more money will go in Aberdeen.
Alec, thanks very much. Let's hope it's a good game.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you.
Alec Totten's money is on Aberdeen. Well, let's have a look at the Aberdeen lineup now. I think we can see that now, Gordon. No Willie Miller.
No, I wouldn't have been like the guy that told him he wasn't in the 13. They'd be drawing short straws for that last night. Alex Smith and his backroom staff. But I think it's the team that we expected.
He's sticking with the guys who have done him such a turn in the cup run.
Yeah, and I think, as Alec Totten said there, Celtic have got a lot of good players, but I think Aberdeen have got more of them.
Sure. OK, now this is Celtic lineup. Now we didn't expect that. Dovcek, number 2, Rogan, number 3.
Yeah, well, that's a big surprise. It'll be interesting to see who plays where. I mean, 2 left-footed players playing in... obviously, one of them's got to go to right back. I think they'll play a pretty square back four. We start Grant and McStay in the middle of the park. And Miller, Jakinovsky and Walker up front and have a go, as Celtic always do.
And a dream come true for Billy Stark, coming back and going straight into the cup final team.
Yeah, well, they need people like that, particularly today, I think, you know, hardened professionals like Billy Stark. They've missed him this season.
All right, Gordon. Well, now, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the final. I was whisked by helicopter to Mull. But if that came as a surprise to me, it was nothing compared to the shock in store for 2 of the Islanders. It's coming up now. This has come as a surprise to us as well, because we don't have it. OK, we'll get that report shortly. In fact, I think it's coming up now. As I said to you, it was this morning. I was whisked off by helicopter to Mull.
Most of the Hampden-bound supporters were just wakening up early this morning when I met Captain David Clare at the helipad beside the SECC in Glasgow. It was a half-hour helicopter journey for us to Bannesson in the west of Mull to meet the regulars at the Argyle Arms Hotel. In store, a huge surprise for 2 of the Islanders, both of whom were planning to watch the cup final live on television. Waiting to meet us, hotel owner Anda Campbell and his wife Helen, and almost all of Bannesson 300-strong population were out to give us their welcome too.
Yeah, good Celtic from this. I'll see Aberdeen supporters as well. How the woodwork here? Morning. Aberdonians and Mull. I can't believe it.
Aberdonians. Let me put you in the spot then, Anda. What is your neutral prediction?
Well, I go for Aberdeen. I go for Aberdeen.
You're going to go for Aberdeen?
Yeah, they've played a lot of good football this year.
I don't think that went down too well with the Celtic lads in here.
Well, they don't know too much about football, so...
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll now go and have a word with some of your regulars.
Certainly, right.
If I was letting my head rule my heart, I would say about 8-0 for Aberdeen, but... but I honestly think that Aberdeen should win convincingly.
Jack, how do you think? Because obviously you're a Celtic man. There's a lot of pressure on Celtic, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is, but Celtic are at the base when their backs are against the wall. So I think... I think they must do it today. They must and they will. So.
Somebody in here told me a minute ago that your wife's called Offsky, and you're known here as Jakinovsky, is that right? Let me ask the 2 of you, I mean, do you enjoy a day like this? You know, presumably you'll watch the game on Scottish television here in the hotel in Mull.
No.
Yeah.
No fights at the end. You can't help but enjoy it here.
You'd like to be at Hampden, presumably?
Oh, I'd love to be at Hampden, yeah, but this is better than... Well, it's as good as being at Hampden, I suppose.
You free drink here.
You too, Kenny. You'd love to be at Hampden, I presume.
Yeah, well, I'd love to be at Hampden. It'd be smashing to see it. It's a long time since I've seen Aberdeen playing.
Well, I tell you what, for you, Kenny, and for you, Jack, we've got 2 tickets for the best seats in the house here at Hampden today, and you're coming with us now on that helicopter outside back to Glasgow to see the game.
So it was goodbye to Mull for the day as Jack and Kenny set off with me back to Hampden in Glasgow. The helicopter ride was almost as much of a thrill as the up-and-coming cup final itself. Jack, the headmaster of the village's primary school, and it was a chance for him to get a bird's-eye view of the classrooms below. And for Kenny, the ferryman from Mull to Iona, a look down on the waters that he knows only too well. Then 30 minutes later, the 2 of them flew over Hampden Park, a scene they thought they'd only see on Scottish television today.
Oh, Gordon, wasn't that lovely?
That's terrific. That's what the cup's all about, things like that. But I was interested to hear he said they laid on free beer at that pub for the rest of the day, so I don't think it's much of a game here today anyway. So
I hope you're enjoying it down there in Mull. Well done to you. Thanks for having me. OK, well, kick-off time is creeping ever closer, so let's have a look at one or two players who could have a significant bearing on the destination of the Cup, starting with Aberdeen midfield man Jim Bett. Now, Gordon, we've spoken so much about this guy, but he's 30 years old, hugely experienced and a major asset today, I would have thought.
Yeah, he's done a terrific job for Aberdeen, Jim Bett, as we said earlier, done a smashing job for Scotland as well, and I think probably him and Paul McStay and possibly Trevor Stevens, the three most influential players in Scottish football today. Picks things up off his back four, terrific passing, like this little pass here, great goal, great crosser of the ball, and he's not a bad tackler either.
Sure. Certainly to do well for the Dons today, Gordon, and looks as if he's Italy-bound with the Scotland squad.
I don't think there's any mistake about that. I think he's going to be one of our key players over there because he's got the ability to make a big impression in the World Cup finals in Italy.
Great goal in the opener there at Pittodrie against Hearts. Well, of course, I mean, we couldn't look at Celtic without having a look at captain Paul McStay. A lot of pressure on him today because a lot is going to be asked of him, Gordon.
Yeah, well, I think Paul McStay is one of those players, he's got the ability today to go out and say, look, I'm going to win this cup final for Celtic, and he could do it. I mean, he's got everything. He's got great passing ability, he's got fantastic balance as well. I just wish sometimes he'd be a little bit more arrogant than what he is.
Yes.
But, I mean, he's got everything.
Do you go along with the belief amongst certain Celtic supporters, Gordon, that if McStay plays, Celtic play?
I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, he's vitally important for Celtic, and they'll be looking to him today for turning it on. And if he does well, I mean, I wouldn't say you've got a shot, but it wouldn't be a huge shock Celtic beating Aberdeen here today, but he could influence proceedings in a big way.
Sure. We hear today that the Dutch Football Federation have a presence at Hampden to look at Hans Heelhuis, who, of course, is in the Holland squad. Now, what do you make of him, Gordon?
Well, he's done sensationally well since he came to Aberdeen, and of course he's a huge hit with the Aberdeen fans. And when you look at goals like this playing against Dunfermline, and the overhead kick, and I think he's probably been the best signing that any manager in Scotland has made this season. As I said, I thought it would be difficult to top Theo Snelders, but this boy's done it, and he looks a snip at the money just now. And he's done fantastically well with players for Holland, Alex Smith, Paul Mason, Heelhuis, and Van der Aert and Snelders. That's a little bit of class here. Picks Charlie out, Charlie controls it and slots it in, and they've ended up a terrific partnership, these two. And it must be a bit disappointing for Heelhuis that Charlie's thinking about leaving now.
Sure. Tremendous goal there, Pittodrie against Hearts. OK, so much for Hans Heelhuis. Celtic supporters, no doubt, will be looking to a man called Dariusz Jakinowski to score the goals today, if there are going to be goals scored for Celtic. There he is. How do you rate him, Gordon?
Well, he's very, very classy. I think when they brought him at the start of the season, they said, well, who's Maurice Johnston? They forgot the Maurice Johnston thing because he was doing really, really well at the start of the season. But he seems to have went off the boil a bit in the last 4 or 5 months. And there's a tendency for Jakinowski to do a lot of his good work outside the box and maybe not get in where it hurts. Because for a Celtic centre-forward, he's not scored many goals, which is unusual because Celtic bomb forward and make a lot of chances. If he turns it, I mean, he could be the guy with his class that could turn the game today in Celtic's favour. He's got the class. Yeah, he's got the class to do it, and he'll be used to this type of atmosphere. He's playing in front of gigantic crowds in Poland, so I don't think this will put him off today.